how to create it. So what is the first step? The very first step of creating a portfolio is get data. A lot of time people don't know from where to get data. In today's time, there are a lot of resources from where you get free data sets, right? So I thought, just list it out for everyone. Some of the very commonly used data sets, resources. Kaggle, very famous. It has a lot of data sets with respect to um, visualization, with respect to Python, with respect to machine learning algorithms. Then we have UCI machine learning repository. We have data.gov. This is like a US based government website where anything like traffic in New York City versus it may be, population or a healthcare of US is given over there. So depending on which topic, which industry you want to work with, you can go and pick up the data. So this is like an actual real-time data that you're picking in data.gov and data.gov.uk. So this is for UK. Then we have Reddit, and then we have AWS public data sets. So a lot of time people have this question to me, are these the live data set? See, as an organization, there's not going to be any organization which is going to give you their live data to you to work on. A lot of data governance, data security issues are there. However, the data sets that you find on these websites, like Kaggle, those are very close to the real-time data sets that you will get. So if you are picking data from Kaggle, be prepared that they may be not a perfect data sitting there. I will have to clean the data, I have to prep the data, I have to create some more columns for the data, and then I'll get my output. So these are the typical websites. Apart from that, there are a lot of websites in which a lot of challenges are taking place. Maven Analytics, FP20, DNA Enterprise. So over there also you can pick data sets, participate in challenges. That also becomes your portfolio project. Again, it shows your passion towards the industry. If you want to try for data analytics, see, data analytics is a very, very big word. Data science, very big word. So when somebody says, I want to become a data analyst, what's the definition of a data analyst? A person who is working with, let's say, SQL and Python is also called a data analyst. A person who's working only with Excel and probably SQL is also called a data analyst. A person who's only working with Python and R is also called a data analyst, right? A person who can analyze the data is called a data analyst. So don't go by the rules, right? Don't go by the rules. Go by the tools that you want to work with and pick your projects based on the tools, with the tools and the data set that you would want to work with. Code Basic, again, it's a good website to go and practice. However, I feel the level of questions is little more like easy to medium. And since there are questions already given, you really don't push yourself to think beyond what is a possibility in a business. So my way is either you go for challenges, Code Basic, Maven, and all those things, or second is pick your own data sets, because then they are purely your personal projects. They are not something that thousands of people are working on or thousands of people will have there on the LinkedIn or your resume. These are your personal projects. This is going to be unique to you. So best policies, participate in challenges and all. However, focus more on getting your projects done. Okay. Next, let's say I know where to get the data. Now what do I do? Now, what are the key steps? And this is the most important part. Typically, again, what I've seen is, let's say I'm a student, I pick a data set. I've got 10 columns. Instinct as a student who has just learned is that we try to use all the possible columns in the data and do some kind of project with it. But that's not exactly how you would be working in the industry. When you say that, okay, if you ask someone who's working as an analyst in an organization, it's not that they are given a data and say, do something with it, or work with Python, or work with Power BI. The way they are given a project is with a business problem. And these guys are supposed to solve that business problem with the data. So when you want to show that I'm a good match for an organization, to the interviewer, to the recruiter, you want to impress them. Not just that I've filled my resume with a lot of projects, I've worked with a lot of data, I know all these tools. No, I want to impress them that I understand what you do at your work, and that's what I am doing. How do you exhibit that? So that will be done. Sorry, I've got a bad throat. Okay, there's a question: if someone wants to work with Power BI and Excel, then how can I create my portfolio? So if someone wants to work with Power BI and Excel, what kind of profile are we thinking about? What profile are we looking at? We are looking at a BI analyst, right? A person who is working on the descriptive analytics side of the industry. So your portfolio projects have to be around that. So in Excel, what kind of projects you can showcase? One is dashboards, correct? Dashboard with the use of slices, or dashboard with the use of form controls, or something that we create in Excel a lot is trackers. A lot of organizations have trackers. They are tracking their bids, they're tracking their sales, they're tracking their inventory. A lot of trackers are there. So either create trackers and show that as your portfolio project, or create dashboards with slices, without slices, and form controls, right? Talking about BI, in BI, you have to work with your visualizations, dashboards, right? So that kind of profile portfolio you will have. Are video projects also necessary? See, videos are always a good engagement. Think about yourself. You all are sitting over here today. If I would have sent you a PPT deck, 30, 40 pages, or even 10 pages, the kind of interest you have in reading versus something which is displayed to you in form of a video, which one would you prefer? I'm sure video. So on LinkedIn, when you put short videos, right? Not very long, 30 minutes, nobody has 30 minutes time to sit on LinkedIn and watch your videos, but quick 5 minutes video that helps a person to understand your work faster, and it engages. And the more engaged you keep people on LinkedIn, more followers you are, the visibility increases of your work. So, for example, you put a project on LinkedIn, a video project. I like it. Some more trainers of Ivy like it. Automatically, your visibility, which may be 5,000 people, has automatically become a 15,000 people visibility. So that's the reason on LinkedIn you have to be active. And what kind of content will attract people? Videos always attract us. Why do you think YouTube has become so famous? Just because of videos. Video engagement is better versus if I search for something on the Google and read about it, try to understand, versus I watch a video. That's always a win-win situation. There are two websites, NoPro and Maven Showcase, where you can create your portfolio. You can create your portfolios over there, but this is not what I meant. I didn't mean the portfolio as in a hosting place. Portfolio, when I say the word portfolio, I meant that you have done a set of projects that you can call that this is my work, right? Now, where you're hosting it, you have GitHub, you have Maven, you have NoPro, everywhere you can do it. But the point is you have to do the project before you can think about hosting. Hosting comes later. First is your work has to be done. So I regularly prepare dashboards and trackers in my organizations. Yes, so that work should reflect on your resume. And more than the projects, if you're doing something on a regular basis at your work, that has to be on your resume. That has to be written in a proper language on your resume that this is the profile you're currently doing. Nothing better than hiring a guy who's already doing it at the job rather than only basing it off on the projects that I've given. Okay. So the more and more work you can show at your current, can I put a project on resume depending on that? That's not a that's not a project then, right? It's your work experience. So that part will go in your work experience, not as a project. And like I said, see, why would I need a support of a project? If I'm already a data analyst, if I'm already working on Python, if I'm already working on Power BI, if I'm already working on SQL, that will be the part of my profile. That will be my role, right? So if I am saying that I'm working in an organization and for past 2 years I've been working on these tools and this is the kind of work I'm doing, that's a better way of showcasing my knowledge. Or should I go for a portfolio project? Obviously, it's better that I show that I'm already doing it. It's my bread and butter. That's what I do. I don't need a portfolio project in such cases then. As a fresher, should I focus on a single domain project or multiple domain project? I would say as a fresher, focus should be multi-domain because right now you really don't know which domain you would like to go. You really don't know that. So by using multi-domain, you get a understanding, okay, is this something I enjoy? Because see, nobody can force you to do anything. I feel everything has to be coming up as a natural. So I have students who are very natural at Python versus there are students who are very natural at learning SQL. Then I have people who are very good in dashboarding, better than me. So you have to understand your natural inclination. But if you don't experiment, if you don't try, how would you know what is a natural inclination? So as a fresher, first thing should be to try different domains. Do the hottest topics: social media, retail, finance, marketing, evergreen stuff, e-commerce. Pick the projects from there. Or if, let's say, for example, I'm a healthcare or a pharmacy student, I'll pick data related to clinical research, healthcare, insurance, all the industries which is related to pharmaceutical data set. So it depends on what domain you want, what domain you want to go into. But if you don't have any domain in particular mind, then I would say experiment with multiple domain. If you've done so, if you do uh, if you have done video of a PPT, what should you put? You will put the video only, right? You're not going to put the PPT then. Put the video and see when you put a video and you're talking, right? Or you're creating a video, there are multiple aspects of you that a recruiter comes to know. Number one, communication skills. You are able to talk, you're confident because you're putting on a public platform. By the way you talk, I know your communication skills. By the way you talk, I understand your how assertive you are in your talking, right? In putting across your point. So I would always say videos reflect a lot about you versus a standalone PPT. How to choose the correct data set? There's no definition of correct data set. There's no correct definition. What is a correct data set? There's no correct data set. So a lot of time, that's what my step number one is. This is the first step. People ask me, how do I pick a data set? I know there are websites, I know there are data sets, but how do I pick it? So my answer to you guys is, since we are saying that we want to get into data analytics, and what we're doing, we are creating a portfolio project. And this project, the reason we are doing this project is because we want to showcase that I don't have a theoretical knowledge, I have a practical knowledge, right? So when you're saying I have a practical knowledge, what does it mean? That I understand business. I know how to make tool with business. I know how to solve a business question, right? Now, I keep telling everyone I have very less interest in finance. Somehow that domain is very not that great for me. So if I am not clear with the domain, if I'm not comfortable with the domain or industry, do you think I will be very good in finding a business solution over there, or even be able to think, okay, if this is a business problem, this is the approach I should take? Probably not. So pick a data set which you can understand. Pick an industry which you can understand. Once someone had asked me a question, I don't know what data set to pick. I said, okay, what do you like? She said, shopping. I love shopping. So which set she should pick? E-commerce. Understand what is the shopping pattern of the people, right? That will be interesting project. So how do you pick a project? There's no correct data there's nothing called correct data set. It's what your interest, where does your interest lie, what you can understand very well. That is the type of data you should be picking. Okay. The data which you feel connected to is the correct data set for you. Absolutely. Very nicely put. Which you feel connected to, which you can understand. Right? Should I have my video on? Camera on in the videos? Why not? Why not? Have the camera on. It shows confidence and nothing more than that. I'm seeking transition. What should be my ideal portfolio project? See, there is no ideal portfolio project I can do one-to-one for all of you. This is what I'm telling you is in general what all of you need to follow to create your own portfolio, right? We are coming to that. What kind of projects do make you stand out? The only type of projects that can make you stand out from the crowd is which is business oriented. And that's where I would say 95% of the candidates fail. What you guys do on your portfolio is just show your design skills, which is good. And that I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things about this tool, and you just show it off. But if I look at a dashboard and I ask the question to the candidate that, okay, whose business problem did you solve? Who's a stakeholder? For whom did you create? Or what is the action item out of this? There's no answer. So if you're creating dashboards like that, they're of no use. Because what is going to make you stand out is if you can showcase in your project that I understand business, I understand this data, and I know how to work with it. That's what's going to get you an excellent interview opportunity and a job. Right? What kind of projects make you stand out? Okay. Okay, let's move on. Next. So let's say I feel connected to social media. I'm just taking a random industry. Now, in social media, what kind of analytics problem do the analysts solve? That should be my next thought process, because this is what I'm showing you. The steps that I'm showing you are for the people who have no industry idea. So they just pick a data set and they're clueless what to do with it. So you're going to put a data set that you feel connected to. Next, you're going to figure out what kind of business problems do we solve in social media. Okay. And who will help you in this? Let's say I don't know. I'm a fresher. I don't know what kind of problems will help me. So what should I do? How will you get this answer? Chat GPT, right? You guys are blessed. You have something like Chat GPT in your life right now. So just pose this question to Chat GPT. I am working in a social media organization. I am working on a social media data set. What kind of business objectives or what kind of business problems can I solve? And boom, it will give you a list of business problems. Okay. Hold on, a lot of questions coming up. Should I choose a domain that aligns with my personal interest or the one that has high demand? No, there's nothing called high demand and low demand of industry. Something that you are feeling interested in, put that only. I'm currently working in government bank for 5 years. When I make a transaction, can I show it as experience? Yes. Fresher definition is only right out of college. When you have 5 years of experience, you have to show. So, but then you have to pick your domain properly. Then you can't just go in fashion suddenly, right? If you were working in a bank for 5 years, your aim should be to work on projects which are related to bank. It could be retail banking, it could be risk, it could be marketing of the financial products, but it has to be related to bank. So, are there domains that are more likely to impress the potential employers? Not really. You have to understand. If I run an organization, let's say one of our clients is iQuanti, they're into digital marketing, right? Now, if I put a lot of projects of finance, would they be impressed? Absolutely not. So it depends on the need of the recruitment team. It depends on the need of the company, depending on what type of company it is. So if I'm applying for a bank, if I have projects related to finance, good job. If I'm applying for a consultancy company and over there I can show the variation across the industry, very good. If I'm working for, let's say, social media, then projects oriented to social media, that is what is going to impress them. Which industry or domain is most likely to hire a fresher? What do you guys think? Do you think there is any industry in which only experienced folks are sitting and there's no fresher in that industry? Because if that is the case, I just wonder, how did those experienced folks, or where did they get their experience from? So there is nothing called this industry is for freshers and this is for experience. When you are getting experience, you have to be in a fresher at some point to get it. So those kind of questions, not good. Yes, Power BI and Excel projects, you can upload those on GitHub, not a problem. And then give a link of a GitHub. All right, let's move on. Once you understand, okay, what are the business problems that we have, then the next thing, before you attack your data set or work with your project, you have to figure out for whom am I going to do it and what business problem am I going to solve with it. What is my objective? Okay. For whom am I doing it and what business problem I'm solving for that guy? Always start with a theme in your mind. Always start with a business objective in your mind. If you go vague, that project becomes vague and has hold no significance in interviews or in your on your resume. Okay, have a proper business objective that, okay, with my project, this is what I'm going to solve. Some of the questions that you are asking is moving away from the topic. So I am going to address that little later, because right now, if we don't follow these steps properly, then the whole point of this entire workshop gets diluted. Otherwise, I'm just doing like a counseling of this is my profile, this is what I am. I want to really focus on the projects, because all the other questions will only come into existence if you understand how the projects are. Then whether you are an MIS or you're in a bank or you've done 10 years or you're no experience, you all fit into one bucket for me. Okay. So for now, I am not going to take these questions. It's not I'm not going to answer. I will. However, I want to finish this portfolio project part. Now, first step, see the data set I've connected to. Step number 2, understand what business problems are solved with it. Step number 3, determine or think about, okay, this is a stakeholder. It may be a chief operating officer. It may be a marketing manager. It may be a CEO. It may be a CFO. Who am I creating it for? And what business problem am I solving with it? Then research for data which is having that will help you to solve that kind of business problem. For example, I might want to do a study where I am doing attrition in telecom. Then if I'm doing nutrition, if I want to do a project on nutrition and telecom, I need that kind of data where I know when the person came in into the system, what kind of services he or she had, what kind of plan he or she had, and whether the person is active or not active. Because if I don't have this kind of information, I cannot do it. Right? So then you take care of those websites, you go to those websites and look for such projects, such data. Next, what we miss a lot of time is understand the data properly. You really have to give a lot of time. If someone comes to me with a problem, business problem, or let's say project oriented problem or their work oriented problem, I spend a good amount of time just understanding their data, because till I don't understand the data, till you don't understand the data well, you really can't work on the data. So understand the data. When I say that, understand each and every header. What does it each field mean? What kind of data type these fields are? Are there some of the fields which are not significant? Are there some of the field where values are missing? Then we come into cleaning and processing the data. Okay. Now, most of the database softwares that are designed in a way that basic information gets uploaded in the softwares. Not too much calculated fields are kept over there, because typically ERP software, that's the mechanism or that's the work that they have. So once you cleaned, once you process the data, think about what more do I need to solve this case study, right? Like for example, one of the case study that I show to the students is a call center case study, in which there is a column called number of calls that came, number of calls that got answered, number of calls that got resolved. Now, if I only talk about, let's say there were 1,000 calls, 800 calls were answered, 750 calls were resolved, just like numbers, then they become meaningless. Versus if I said 80% of the calls were answered, 95% answered call were resolved, then the data starts to make meaning for us and for the business. So you always have to keep thinking, am I giving a number? Does it make even any sense? Or do I need to create more columns to dig deeper into my analysis? Okay. And the last part, whether you're doing a Python program, machine learning, R, or you're doing as simple as a SQL query. Like one question that has come just now is, should I use complex code or queries in my project? If it is related to business problem, yeah. But if it's just a complex query which has no significance in the business, no. You might show that I know how to write a complex query, but it's far away from what the business does or the business needs. They're not going to hire you for that. They'll only hire you if you will be able to apply your knowledge in the business. So if I can create a business objective and associate with a complex query, win-win situation. Beautifully done. But if it's just a complex query, then no. Then answer is absolutely no. So this is the entire process. What people typically do is start from here. Take data, clean data, do some kind of analysis, 10 columns, let's analyze all the 10 columns. Something will come up. 10 columns do not convert to 15 columns at all. No new fields are created. No deeper insights are done. Something that a class 12 student can probably do for us. Then what differentiates you as an analyst? You are not an analyst. You just know how to run a tool. But if you think in this direction, if you take the first 4 steps as well, then you're thinking about the business. Then you're thinking about the analysis. And then you will see your projects will have much better reaction from the recruiter.